Chocolate plus vanilla plus caramelized honey equals the OK Bochet. We'll see if it's truly just okay. Hey, this is Man-Made Mead. Today I am reviewing and kind of talking about the OK Bochet, which was my one of my subcategories of my giant Bochet that I made, which was roughly about 8 gallons. This one I ended up putting cacao nibs in and vanilla bean, and if you know anything about a Bochet, it's caramelized honey. So between all those flavors, I wondered, and I'm wondering how it's tasting. And I've tried it some before. It's been, I mean, this mead is definitely at least 6 months old now. So it's got some age on it. It's currently cold because I left it in the fridge. Here's my artwork for it. I'll try to get you a little close-up of it. It's the hand, kind of architecture, all these things. I wanted to really try this because you guys have been asking about it and asking how it's turned out. The last update I gave for it was really putting the cacao nibs in and the byproduct of that. So let's try it. I have, of course, a glass and the drink itself. The drink has been shaken up a little bit, so I bet there's going to be a little bit of not very clear. It's not super clear. I think if I hadn't jostled the bottle around, there's a better chance of the sediment and stuff having stayed at the bottom, but because I jostled it around a bunch, I probably made it worse. So let's go ahead and try it. If you want to know the recipe for it, it's down below for the 3 gallons that I made. And it was really pretty easy. And let's find out if it's good enough. Smelling it, you definitely get the chocolate. It's very apparent. The cocoa that's the cocoa nibs that are really a dark chocolate. It's kind of what it was. I used that. They were not sweet. I did not use sweetened cocoa nibs. I only used just the regular ones. I could have used the sweetened ones to add some extra sweetness, but I didn't feel like it was too necessary. And then I took a vanilla bean, split it down the middle, and then put that in. I only put 1 in, so it wasn't a lot of vanilla. But you really get the cocoa smell. Not a lot of heat from the alcohol just on here. I mean, this is, if I'm not mistaken, it is a 14% mead. So it's not insanely heavy, but it's definitely up there. 14% is pretty nice. I make a lot of 14% alcohols generally. You don't get a lot of vanilla, more chocolate. You get a little of that caramelized honey smell to it. Let's go ahead and taste it. Well, that is it's very rich, which is weird. I wouldn't think to use that word with a mead. When you think of richness, you think of like chocolate, of course, stuff like that, and a really rich cheesecake or something. It's really, it's got a lot of flavors to it. It's really thick. That is fantastic, though. That chocolate pops out. The cocoa is very apparent. The vanilla is even more apparent than on the smell. On the smell, it's hard to tell, but you can definitely get it here and now. And surprisingly, that the caramelized honey, you'd think chocolate and caramel, I mean, that's like, that's candy bars. Lots of candy bars are like that. Chocolate and vanilla and caramel all together. That's 3 flavors that would be kind of weird. It's pretty good. It is very rich, very thick. It's got a lot of different flavors going on. You know, I definitely get that candy bar kind of vibe from it. So I'm thinking, what's a good comparable? Maybe like a Milky Way. It's kind of tastes like a Milky Way between the chocolate and that caramel taste. It's super smooth though. Like you can barely taste any alcohol content on it, which is of course nice but dangerous. It means that you can really drink them fast. But man, that is fantastic. I think with even more age, all of these flavors will start to mellow out and meld together even better. And I'm excited to see a year from now, or maybe 2 years from now, kind of how this has changed. Every mead, most good meads, I mean, get better with age. If you are, it's hard to make mead with anticipation of drinking it like at its best at 3 months. Most of the time you have to wait probably 6 months or more. Some meads, most meads are drinkable at 2 months, 3 months, but the age is what helps them. And honestly, too, age as you're making mead is nice because you get to let your product continue to get better, and I feel like that is super fun to see how your product changes over time. We normally just consume products as they are. You know, that same, of course, alcohols are different. Some whiskeys, like years, can be different. Some wine, years can be different, even seasons. So we normally get a pretty similar product, but our products can change over time too. As a home mead maker, home brewer in general, your products will change over time. Yeah, that is really, really good. I'm definitely getting like that Milky Way, the sweetness. There's a residual sweetness that is there still. And I think that with some time, from what I know of vanilla actually kind of leaves the flavor palette pretty like quickly over time as things age. So I anticipate that vanilla probably leaving some. I think the chocolate, I don't know a lot about the chocolate flavor, but I bet that will, I hope that will continue to amplify itself. Same as the Bochet, the caramelized honey side of it. I have a regular Bochet that I made February last year. It was kind of my inspiration on this mead, to make another Bochet. That's fantastic. And I have about 3 bottles of it left, and I am savoring those because I'm really excited to try those and see how they have changed over the years. But again, patience is really important. Yeah, that's really, really good. I do like that. It's so smooth right now. It's only going to get smoother over time. Especially, it's all bottled, so there's no risk of oxidation, whatever the word is. Oxidation, goodness there. And it's just going to be interesting to see. So, I have other versions of this mead, of the Bochet. I took the 8-gallon Bochet, took 3 of it, and I made it into the OK Bochet, which is right here. Then I also have 2 gallons that are just individual. 1 gallon that honestly has more air on it. I did a video over it. It's called Does Air Change a Mead? And then the other 1 gallon Bochet has a little less air on it. So that's a really interesting video too if you want to know anything about the results of air being on top of a mead and how that changes it. That's an interesting one. And then I also took about a gallon of it and I made it into a raspberry Bochet, where I took raspberry flavoring, put that on top, and that's currently still in the carboy. All 3 of those are in the carboy, just sitting, kind of waiting, and aging kind of like this. They're aging in bulk, which if you know anything about aging alcohol in general, you can age in bulk or you can bottle age. Both of them have their perks. In this case, I have the space right now to hold on to them in their bulk age, which is nice. If I need to make space, I can go ahead and bottle them, and then I can put those bottles somewhere in my house to kind of get them out of the way and make room for more. But I don't anticipate having to do that, hopefully not soon. So this is really great. Check out that ingredient list below if you want to try and make this. Maybe you've made something like this before. Bochets I think they're growing. They're a pretty common mead to make now. They are interesting to make because they require a couple different step processes of heating honey, and they really change the character of the honey too. So obviously your honey choice matters a lot, and you don't really want to just use the cheapest honey in the world because that has its own problems of being pasteurized and hardcore filtered, and sometimes it's only half honey. So you don't want to use super cheap honey, but you can take any kind of honey and manipulate its character by heating it up, by doing things like putting whiskey. I've heard of people mixing whiskey into their honey. They've also put like oak in their honey and let that age. They have aged oak spirals in whiskey and put that in there. And so you get these like honey or whiskey infused honeys and those various things that are kind of weird and off the wall to continue to change the flavor like a Bochet. I really would like to do that to try and make another Bochet with even more changes, more differences with the honey. So I would highly suggest trying this. Try to make a Bochet if you've never made one. I have a video of me making both of my Bochets, my really old one from February, and then also the one that I made just recently, 6 months ago. So if you enjoyed this video, the way you can support me is number one, by liking and subscribing down below. Then you can, of course, get content as I upload it. There's also a bell next to that that is pretty much a reminder that says, hey, Man-Made Mead has uploaded, and that helps me big time because sometimes the YouTube videos don't go straight to your sub box and they get lost in the feed of the world, and it's kind of crazy. That's one way you can support me. You can also support by commenting down below. Tell me what you think of my mead, or maybe your own mead, or maybe one I should make, anything like that. And then I have a whole slew of things. I have a Facebook, facebook.com/manmademeadery, where we have over 500 people now who are talking about mead making, constantly working to grow and be better mead makers. It's a fantastic group of people, and I highly encourage you to join us. There's a Patreon, patreon.com/manmademead, where you can be part of the Man-Made Mead crew, and you get access to my videos early. You get access to live streams. At a certain tier, you get to be on my wall of fame. There's a bunch of great things that happen there. And I also have Society 6 merchandise and a P.O. box and a million other links down below. I will put my complete mead list so far, as of right now, of everything I've made, and you can check that out down below, which has the ingredients for this mead, has the step-by-step process I made, the gravities, all of that stuff. It's very, very nice, very handy for me, hopefully for you as well. But I appreciate you watching. Thank you for taking the time, and I hope you will leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. So, with that, cheers.